Hello everyone, welcome to our first virtual parent back to school night. I'm going to take you on a little tour through the class tonight, and I'm going to teach you some of the lessons or show some of the lessons that the children are using um, in order to learn the lessons that they have to get them through the whole curriculum of Montessori. Now, typically the Montessori curriculum for the primary age is 3 years old through 6 years old. So the children, it encapsulates their kindergarten year, and the children leave this program and go into a private school first grade, public school first grade, or onto an elementary program at a Montessori school. And the thing that's a little bit different in the last year and a half is that we have children that have been away from school and are just starting back in because of COVID. And so we are starting children at different ages. So I'm going to start with the youngest children, the 3-year-olds, and what their introductory lessons are and getting used to being in school. But the older children revisit this work as a part of the classroom day 2. If your child comes in at 4 and a half older, we meet them right where they are. You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. We take you where you are and have a little springboard of lessons that will launch you into the next thing that you're going to do. So a lot of that's the beginning of the year, finding out where everyone is, especially in this COVID time. And then the practical life lessons, which I have right here, one in front of me, orange juice squeezing. These are the kinds of lessons that link home and school together. It's very familiar. They're the kinds of things that it feels like real work. It's appealing and attractive on the kitchen shelves. They're ready to do it right away. For them, it's important to do real work. We're not playing with pretend fruits or vegetables. They're actually making their own food to eat. When it isn't COVID, we're doing a lot more of those kinds of activities where the children are baking, they're making soup, they're grinding up the basil leaves for pesto. But I wanted you to see a simple little lesson that you could replicate at home. Notice how we have tiny little pitchers. This is just enough that will hold a glass of milk or a little water, and the children can fill it into their own cup. Typically, we don't use plastic cups, or we use a lot more cloth, and we use glass and ceramic dishes. But during COVID, it's not safe for the children to be washing them and sharing things. So we just stick to paper, and when you're finished, clean up. So we have this tiny little lemon squeezer, and it's perfect to squeeze the juice out of a clementine. So we pre-cut them in the morning for the children, and they're going to take the orange, and they're going to place it on top, and we tell them to push it and squeeze it and turn it like a doorknob. And so they work at that. And then they're going to pour what juice they have from the little opening into the pitcher, and then from the pitcher into their cup, and then they drink it. So sometimes children are satisfied with just 1/2 of a clementine. We use clementines because the juice oranges are hard to come by when you don't live in Florida, and you get so much juice out of these little clementines. It's the perfect size. So the young 3-year-olds can easily do this. Our assistant teacher, Josephine, maybe I'll ask her to send pictures of it, maybe in our newsletter. She has a little play kitchen. You know, you have those little sets of play kitchens. She has it in her kitchen, and her girls use it as a real kitchen. In the cupboard, they have their cereal. They have a little cooler that they have a jug of milk, or they can serve themselves water. There's their cups in there, and they even have a little spout where there's a jug of water, and they can fill the basin in the pretend sink with water to wash their dishes. So use what you have. You can also get step stools. We have step stools everywhere to bring your children up high to the countertop. and so they can have that independence and sense of confidence. The other thing to know about the practical life lessons is they build that logical sequencing. This morning, one of the little girls had outpouring for the first time. When she's taking it off the shelf, the pitcher tipped over and it spilled on the floor. So there's a puddle of water. And so we put the tray down and I said, let me show you where the mop is. And she was so happy to mop up that spill. She started mopping under our tables and we had a shiny floor this morning. So the children get to see that logical sequencing, and that's what they're going to need later on when they're writing a story. There's a beginning, a middle, and an ending. When they're trying to figure out their math problems, there's going to be a problem, there's going to be a solution, and you can go back over your work and check it out if it doesn't work out how you think it should. So it sets up that logical sequencing. It builds their sense of confidence, and it gives them that independence, that they can do it for themselves. A couple of other games that I want to show you in practical life, and this sort of just shows the range of things. We work on refinement of movement and practicing to have control. So there are 2 dishes and there's a little, these are just preliminary exercises that'll be out for the first weeks of school. There's a bowl of little beans and we'll change it. We'll put lentils in there, we'll put seashells in there, things that they can spoon up and transfer them without dropping any into the empty bowl next to it. So how fun is that? Maybe when you're getting dinner ready and there's not something your child can actually help with, you could set up your own little spooning game. They can also use tongs, little tweezers to pick up things and transfer them. So control of movement and refinement of movement. This is one of our dressing frames, and this is the buttoning frame. So children can learn how to button and unbutton when it's not on their clothing. You always want to simplify and make it a chance for success easier. So here we show the children to hold on to the cloth, tip the button in, and then you just lift it off. And when you're going to button, you're going to slip it through the hole, hold the edge of the button, and pull it back on. And when you're 3, you're going to do this over and over and over again. This is our wood polishing set. And so the way we have it set up is there's a tiny little dropper bottle with a dish, and it has lemon oil in it, lemon oil polish. So they learn how to use a dropper, and they put a drop of oil, lemon oil in, and the first cloth is just to spread it on the wood. They might have, and we have real objects that we would use in our classroom. This little box, we have it out in the fall, and sometimes it has fabric in there, it gets stuck, but they can polish it and make it shiny. The second cloth is like a rough terry cloth, and they rub the polish in. And the third cloth is flannel, and that's what they use to make it shine. Everything is on its own little placemat, and it's carried on a tray. Now, all of these cloths that we typically have, we have less cloths in the class because of COVID too. We're not going to be sharing and things that are high-touch items. We're using more paper towels for that kind of thing. But these little cloths will go into our laundry basket. We'll fill it up with a new set of cloths. And in non-COVID times, the children are washing these little cloths out too and hanging them up to dry. So that's some of the range of lessons that you see in the practical life, from simple spooning and simple pouring to more complex things like polishing wood, polishing metal, like making silver shine, or brass polishing. We'll start having those out. The children learn to do sewing, button sewing and stitching projects. So this is where it starts. It's very appealing and attractive, and it's things that the children learn to do, and it sets the tone and makes them feel like this is their class, their home, and it's their place to take care of. So come on over, we're going to see the sensorial lesson.